just gonna post it in the forum real quick.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Today, the Blazers take care of business against the Dallas Mavericks. Terry Stotts gets his 5 millionth career win. The Blazers tighten up late and take care of business in what is a pretty big win over a Western Conference rival that had been hot going into tonight's game. We'll cover that. We'll cover some other stuff a little bit later. This was a good game to win. The defense was not like it was last game, but the offense was much better. CJ McCollum is officially back. I can comfortably say that now. Rodney Hood had a couple nice moments, which was good to see considering how much he's struggled lately. Yeah, this was just a pretty entertaining game throughout, a pretty close game. You had Dame get roughed up. Had Josh Richardson dive on his knee. You had elbows. You had all sorts of just... It was a very physical game. So we got your recap as always. We're going to dive into this one. Eric, your feelings on this game. Actually, wait, before I get to you, I did not watch as actively as Eric, and I will always admit that whenever I don't watch a game super actively, right, I'll just straight up admit it because that's completely fine, you know. Was hanging out with family and then had March Madness on in the background, so watched most of the game, missed a bit of the third quarter, but watched a good part of the game, just not as, intently as I can, but that's where Eric usually has me covered, because I know you're sitting there. You take notes for this one, Eric? Oh, are you? My bad. Yeah. I clicked unmute. There, Eric.
They missed my epic rants.
Yes, Eric was ranting about how trash we are, even though we won. Of course.
No, just
get trolled, chat. And Eric, I just trolled y'all. Ha! That was definitely 100% planned.
Oh man, you got me.
I'm gonna start doing that every stream, and seeing how long it takes for you to notice.
And every time you're gonna say, "Are you?
Are you?" Boy, that's like a rhetorical thing. Like, I know you are. If you are, it's just like, oh, whoops. But yeah.
But
I don't
Yeah,
want.
good.
Here's the thing: when like the Blazers Uprise picture is up before the stream, before we go live, I don't want you guys to be able to hear Eric's mic, so I gotta make sure to mute it for that. Sometimes I forget. Where's the rant? You guys might have a fun rant a little bit later. We'll just save that for when that comes up. Eric, thoughts on the game?
Just happy we got the win. It's kind of a weird game. Just the flow of the game seemed really off. We had some players hit some really big shots, primarily CJ. And it's good to see him back. Our defense tightened up, obviously, like you said, in the fourth quarter. Only gave up 9 points in the last 6 minutes or so. That's great to see. I feel like a little bit of that was Kleba. I always say his name wrong. Missed a bunch of wide open shots, but we'll take it. Anytime we play a good stretch of defense, I'm not going to be mad at anything. But yeah, just kind of weird flow to this game. Trent was really bad shooting the ball. He got one to fall though. In I think it was either late third, early fourth, where it like bounced off the front rim, hit the back of the rim, hit the backboard, and went in. And so and then the next play he took like a contested ISO jumper and scored on it. So hoping that maybe gets him going a little bit just to see the ball bounce in there. But other than that, strange game. But Blazers once again come out victorious. So it was a good win, and we win the season series against them. And gain a game up on them in the standings for their chase to try and catch up with us in Denver and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Reese, that's what I tried to say. I always include the R though with it. But
Kleba. I'm blanking on it, and I know the pronunciation. Yeah. So if I'm struggling it, I know you are.
But yeah, so just happy we got the win. Yeah, I mean, I thought the defensive effort was pretty good. We had a stretch at the beginning of the game. I thought we came out with a little more effort than them, which is, once again, something I'm always looking for at the beginning of these games. Considering we were on a back-to-back and Dallas wasn't, I will always be like, I'll always think that's a good thing if we should be the more tired team, but we look like we have more energy. And then throughout the game, there were stretches where we kind of got lackadaisical at times, but overall did just enough and hit just enough big shots to pull out the victory.
Yep. CJ McCollum, it was so nice to see him get going in this one. This was a game we had to win with our offense. Last game, we won that game with our defense, which I would like to see a little bit more of, just to see better defensive outings, because we know the offense is there. This game, I mean, Dallas hit shots, right? I definitely want your thoughts on how much of it was our defense versus how much of it was them just being a really good offensive team. But, that's the thing is we got the offensive talent, especially if CJ's like back. We got the offensive talent to outscore anybody in a game where we don't play much defense. So that's kind of what this game seemed like to me. It was one of those games where we definitely didn't get it done on the defensive end, giving up 119 points. But I will say this, the last 6 minutes, just like the first Pelicans game, we tightened up defensively, and we played better defensively, and it was a very close game, and we pulled away because we started playing defense there late when it mattered the most.
Yeah, it was like, up until then, it was like, no, what are we doing? Like, we're just letting them do whatever they want. And yeah, I don't know. It's always tough for me. Like I said, when the other team's missing wide open shots, whether to just say it's because they're missing wide open shots or because that's like our game plan to make certain players shoot. I don't think that for Maxey, I don't think that's a great game plan usually, but he's kind of struggled against us this year, at least shooting the ball from three. He did a lot of other things in this game, but yeah, it's just I don't know. To me, it was like the defense is better than it has been, but at the same time, it's still not great. So, but I'll take it because it seems like it's better than it was a couple games ago, especially against like Minnesota and stuff like that in the first game against the Pelicans.
Yep, agreed. So yeah, just want to see some signs of improvement. It's not going to be something where we're all of a sudden going to be a borderline top 10 defense right off the bat. You don't go from as bad as the Blazers have been to borderline top 10 just like that. So it was nice to see that game previously. And overall, in the end, you do want to get wins, especially going into a back-to-back with the Dallas Mavericks, who were only 2.5 games behind us before this game. I preface it like this. These 2 games are extremely important against the Mavericks because they're going to be there at season's end. They have a very easy schedule, okay? It was going to be something where if we lost both games to the Mavericks, they were only going to be a half game back of us, and they were going to be in position for the tiebreaker. It was going to be, if we split it, they would be 2.5 games back of us, and we would have the tiebreaker at 2-1 for the season series. If we can sweep them, we'll be 4.5 games ahead of them after the second game, and we will have clinched the tiebreaker because it will be 3-0. I don't know if we play them again, but we will have clinched the tiebreaker. It will be 3-0. So
we only play them 3 times. Yeah.
We only play them 3 times. Okay, so we have clinched the tiebreaker with them with this win. But either way, you have a chance. If they win this game, you have a chance. If you win next game, they're going to be 4.5 games behind us, and we're going to, and we'll have the tiebreaker. So winning these games are important. You got to win the games against the bad teams, against the Pelicans of the world. It was nice that we could beat them back to back, but we have a lot of games like this against teams battling with us for the playoffs that we need to win, okay? And against bad teams, I almost focus on our style of play more. Against good teams in the Western Conference, I care more about let's just get this win, because wins are extremely important for playoff positioning against teams like this. And it's nice to be sitting here after a win at 25-16 with a real chance to put a nice cushion between us and the Mavericks after the next game against them.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Maxey was 4 for 7 from 3, but he missed 3 wide open ones late in the fourth quarter is what I was referring to, not the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today. Nice that the Blazers got a win. Enjoyed March Madness today as well. Today's been a good basketball day. It's been pretty chock full.
My Beavers won. Yeah.
Eric's Beavers won. So Eric, I know you were enjoying that. That was the game that busted my perfect bracket, right? It wasn't the 15 seed Oral Roberts. I picked them. That was my 15 seed. I finally have nailed a 15 seed. Feels good. So been a fun day of basketball. Really enjoyed having some college basketball, and then the Blazers being able to pull this one out.
I'm 41 years old. I was 2 years old the last time the Beavers won a tournament game. Any tournament.
Hey, if the Beavers can win a tournament game, Eric, the Blazers can win a championship.
Yep.
So, I mean, Rutgers won too. It's been 38 years for them. So there's some teams that are winning. Man, if Oregon State can win in the tournament, we can win the championship. Because it's been about the same period of time.
Yep. It's always cool to see. It's weird, a Power 5 being a Cinderella, but
yes,
screw it. The Beavers are a Cinderella. They don't.
And they demolished them. So
yeah.
Overall, defensively, what are your thoughts on? I honestly did not pay attention to things like scheme in the first quarter. Spending quality time with family, all that type of stuff. So, what did we come out in for anybody that wasn't really, paying too hard of attention? Do you like the game plan? How do you think we executed said game plan? What did you think overall of our defense today?
I thought the effort level was decent. We did have, it was primarily a few times with CJ falling asleep on those back-end rotations. We saw those problems a lot earlier in the season. So now that most of the team has that cleaned up, CJ's got to fall in line there. But I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of hard traps on Luka. We were kind of half dropping, half trapping, if that made sense. They were playing kind of up on, they weren't fully dropping back into the paint. They were trying to stay up, but most of the times when Maxey set a pick, he would just pop, or Porzingis would pop to the top of the circle, and Luka would just drive and get the two guys to collapse and then just kick it out to him. And then if we rotated, they would just swing it to the other corner or whatever. So yeah, there's I don't know. I still don't like that we don't have seemingly a specific game plan for Luka. He got a lot of open threes towards the beginning of the game, and like you say, he always seems to hit a higher percentage than he does at other against other teams against us. I don't know what he finished tonight. He was 4 for 13 tonight, so like most of those were in the first half. So yeah, he got cold in the second half, but 15 to 27 overall. But yeah, I don't know. He scored 38, 9 to 9. It's hard to say we did well on him, but I thought we did decent on him. And we forced Porzingis to post up a lot too, which I thought was a good strategy. Even though he can hit those, it's not something he's comfortable doing at all. So he would just like turn around and shoot, like try to bank it in over whoever he was guarding. And like I said, sometimes it would go in, sometimes it wouldn't. But I do like that strategy of forcing him into being a post player when you know that's not really his game or what he likes to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Here's the thing: is I don't like that sort of game plan against Luka. Either if you're going to defend Luka at the point of attack with two defenders, you got to really pressure him. You got to contain him. You can't let him drive, and you can't make it easy on him just passing out of a hard trapping double, right? So you got to really commit to both defenders going with him at the point of attack. If it's a hedge, it has to be a hard hedge, and then you have to recover quickly and be aware of where your guy is, because it's easy to hedge and then recover to the paint. It's a little bit harder to hedge and then recover out to a popping big man, and that's basically all Dallas does. They just run pick and pop with Porzingis and Kleba. So, it's I would have liked to have seen us be more aggressive to start this game. It didn't seem like, I was watching. It didn't seem like as aggressive as it was against the Pelicans the night before. I would just like us to just see what that looks like, against a guy like Luka. Because, Luka might pick it apart. Luka might have a good game, but he had a good game tonight. He ended up finishing with 38 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, 15 for 27 from the field. I can't imagine it being that much worse in terms of defending him. So.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Ben Hewitt with the Australian $2 donation. What's up, Benny? How you been, man?
It's been a minute.
He says, was that a record for most threes in a game? I believe we hit 21 tonight, or 22 maybe, 22, and they had, 19? So, yeah, it's not close to a record.
41 combined is actually
nowadays,
quite a bit,
but that is a lot combined, but, yeah, I don't think it's a record or anything.
Yeah. I was blanking on what I was going to say next.
Trapping Luka,
I just want to see what it looks like against a guy like Luka, because it could look good against a team like New Orleans. That's a bad team. They don't have a Luka type guy. I want to see us play aggressive defense, hard hedge or trap against a very high quality player, and just to see what it looks like. Because it's against high quality guards, especially, we give up great games to them almost all the time. You look at Phoenix, Devin Booker went off against us. Chris Paul routinely goes off against us. It seems like almost any good guard has a good game against us. So I would just like to see us try and truly commit to playing a more aggressive scheme against a good guard.
Yeah, it almost feels like at times we're just like, okay, let Luka score, but don't let anyone else beat us. But then the problem with that is if you have hot shooters like Hardaway was 7 for 11 from 3 tonight, so he was on fire, and Maxey was 4 for 4 before the fourth quarter, so he was hitting early. That's not always a good strategy if you're also not guarding the 3-point shooters. So one thing we didn't do a lot in this game, and I think is the reason why we won, was we didn't foul a lot. We've been really bad at that lately, or all the season actually, getting into the bonus early in quarters and then making silly fouls, or always reaching in on drives and then getting to the line. So the fact that Doncic only had 5 free throws, Porzingis had 4, and they only had 13 as a team, I think that was a really good way to I mean, you're never gonna stop a team like Dallas with all the weapons they have, but I think not giving them easy points is a good strategy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Offensively, what did you think of our performance tonight?
Basically, I felt like our performance was just here, Melo, here, CJ, here, Dame, score the ball, and that's what we did. And Cantor was really good. We did actually post him up a few times, and he was getting to the middle, getting that little baby hook down. That's money when he gets his body into his defender and creates a little space. So I liked that in the first half, especially we went to that 2 or 3 times in a row, and it resulted in an easy bucket. I don't know how many offensive rebounds he had exactly. I just have total rebounds on my box score, but
offensive rebounds for who?
Cantor.
Cantor had 5 offensive rebounds, 9 rebounds total.
Yeah. That's one of the things I forgot to mention about the defense is once again we played small a lot of the game. Cantor only played 23 minutes, and Giles didn't play at all, so that meant 25 minutes of the game we were playing small. And one thing we have to do better of is, you have to enforce that you have to box out in those situations when you're playing small. You can't just do the thing where you all turn and go to the rebound and not put a body on someone, because they got several extra possessions that way as well.
I mean, just looking at it, they only got 5 offensive rebounds, looking at things statistically. I think that here's the thing is, like, there's games where, they only got 5 offensive rebounds, but the offensive rebounds they do get are, like, glaring, where it's like somebody obviously doesn't box out.
Right.
Like, it's not like somebody just doing an Ennis Cantor and completely out-hustling us. A lot of times it's just us not doing the little things and not boxing out.
Well, that's the problem is, because it felt like there were those possessions in particular, we were playing good defense, and we forced them into a tough shot, and then they get an offensive rebound and get an easy shot off of it. So it, like you said, it kind of magnifies those ones. Overall, like throughout the game, that's not a ton, but like those possessions, if we get stops there versus them getting the rebound and scoring, could have made the difference between making this a little easier victory. But yeah, overall, not too bad on the boards, but I just want them to not just think they're going to get a rebound and actually just, I'd love to see a play where all 5 guys, especially when they're all on the perimeter, like box out and the ball just falls to the ground because no one can get it. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I know that doesn't happen in the NBA, but yeah, it'd be cool to see.
I just want to see this team box out better. You know, it's little things like that, man. I just, if somebody out hustles them and gets an offensive board, like, you know, because somebody is just busting their tail, like, okay, you know, that'll happen. When it's just not focusing enough to simply box a guy out, that type of stuff is the type of stuff I have an issue with, and the type of stuff a coaching staff should have an issue with, because you're not committing to doing fundamental things, you know, and it doesn't just apply to boxing out. I just feel like that's the most obvious kind of example of that. You're not committing to do a little thing that could help you control a rebound, and it gives the other team an extra possession because you simply don't turn and box out. In boxing out, you learn that at an early age. This is not something that, you know, every player can turn and box out. It's not something that's based on any certain player's attributes physically or their athleticism or anything. So there's no excuse for anyone to not box out.
Honestly, you don't even need to have high basketball IQ either.
Yeah. I mean, you put me out there, I'll try and box out. Sure. Somebody might be so much faster than me, they easily run around me or something, or stronger than me and just kind of push me under the rim, go up over the top of me and grab it. But, like, see, that type of thing, if somebody does that, like, as a coach or as a fan, I'm fine with that, you know, because they're doing what they can to try and control the rebound, which is box out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm also fine with that. Like, if they're actually seeking out someone and they just happen to get around them, you know, it's not going to happen every time, but if they get an occasional rebound, just purely like outworking someone, even though they were doing the right thing, I will not blame them for it. It's just the turning around and looking at the ball off the rim and then hoping someone gets it and then watching your guy go right around you and you're like, oh crap, those kind of things just drive me crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, offensively, it did seem pretty ISO heavy. We had 17 assists on 44 made field goals, so 17 assisted field goals, and we had 27 unassisted field goals. That's kind of the norm with this team. There was a couple good possessions of ball movement. The one that got the Rocco 3 to seal it was just a great example. Dame's getting trapped cross court. You got 3 shooters weak side, and you just swing over to the corner. They don't rotate in time. It's a wide open 3 for a good 3-point shooter in Rocco. Like, that type of stuff. Simple basketball, effective. And that was a nice possession to cap off the game, basically to put the dagger in the hearts of the Mavericks, so to say. But it definitely was a lot of one-on-one. Here's the thing, it worked tonight. You had Dame shoot above 50%. CJ was 11 for 23, almost 50%. Melo was above 50%. So it's not like this type of stuff didn't work. We posted up Canner multiple times. He was 7 for 13, so he is above 50%. So it's not like it didn't work. It's just, it always comes back to what happens when we play an elite defense and what happens when we get into the playoffs and we're comfortable playing this style of basketball. What happens then? We've seen it a number of times. Our offense regresses in the playoffs, and it hurts us when it matters most in the postseason. So every time I'm watching the offense, it can be working, it can be fun, and it can be awesome, and it can lead us to a win like it did tonight. And it just leaves me wondering, okay, man, what happens when we face the Los Angeles Lakers or the Los Angeles Clippers or even the Utah Jazz, elite defenses of the NBA? It's shown that it struggles against, the style of play is not super productive against the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, and so a lot of people were talking on social media tonight about, see what happens when we trap Dame when we have CJ in the game. But they were doing that thing that both you and I hate, where CJ goes almost to half court and Dame throws back to him, and then it just becomes ISO CJ. So he breaks someone down, makes a tough shot, right?
Yes.
That's not necessarily taking advantage of a trap, and I still think that's horrible coaching, because if you put CJ in a better position to accept the ball and he can attack that 4-on-3, he might not always have to take a tough shot or get a shot himself, but he's in a position to kick out to an open shooter that way. Whereas if you throw it cross court, the defense has time to recover back to their man if they're trapping Dame. And I don't feel like that's aggressive enough to do it. And against good teams, like you said, in the playoffs, that will be a lot tougher for CJ to make that shot over a Paul George or a Kawhi Leonard versus, like, Tim Hardaway Jr. or whoever was guarding him tonight,
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying, I was putting on a one-on-one clinic sometimes, when Melo's hot or CJ's hot, You can enjoy that, but then also be, like, worried about how it's going to look against elite defenses in the league. Because in the end, I want this team to contend. So I want this team to try and run the best offense to help them contend. People, we're 6th in the league in offense, so our regular season offense isn't much of a problem. I think it's struggled this season against elite defenses, and that's kind of a tease of what I feel like will come in the playoffs. It's not about necessarily regular season wins per se, or that we'd be a top 2 offense instead if we move the ball. I think we'd be a little bit better, but it just comes down to the playoffs and postseason basketball, where I feel like having a diverse attack just makes you a lot harder to game plan for, a lot harder to take Dame out of the game if you have some sets that utilize him off the ball and guys can move the ball well. It's a lot harder to game plan against that. So everything is kind of geared towards that. But also, you got to enjoy it because it's helping them win a game, which is also geared towards giving them a better shot in the playoffs, because the better seed they have, the better shot they'll have at making a run. So, it's something where I'm happy when it's working, but I'm worried, and it gets a little frustrated when it's not working, and even when it works, it just has me thinking about playoffs.
This is why I don't like it, because, let's say CJ was, how many shots did he take tonight?
23.
23. Let's say he's, 8 of 23 instead of 11 for 23 and something, and that's the difference between winning and losing, right? And then after the game, it's like, oh, we just missed a lot of shots. CJ usually hits those, you know, like that's usually the answer to why we don't win when we don't win. So I don't want that to also be, oh, we just made shots, and like I just feel like we can do a better job of getting these guys better shots, all of them. And so yeah, like there was a few times Melo had a good game, but there was a few times where he dribbled the ball up the court, and the other four players literally just cleared out and ran and stood on the other sideline, all four of them, and it was just dribble, 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 shoot. And that's not like anyone's fault, but like that's just like horrible offense. And yeah, he can make it. CJ can make those. Dame can make those, of course. But you just don't want to have to rely on that consistently and not at least try to get a good shot before having to resort to that.
Yes, agreed. I am wrapping up the player graphics. If you want to hop into the players, you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready for that? All right, let me finish.
I'm ready.
Let me finish up Naz's. Nasir's is a very easy graphic to make, sadly. And then we will go into the players. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, the Bulls choked against Denver. They had that game won, and that would have been big for us. But
yeah, that's a shame. I have not paid attention to any other NBA action. Did the Suns lose tonight? Because I was reading Twitter and it sounded like they were struggling.
Last I saw, they were up pretty. Yeah, they won by 12. So
that's unfortunate.
Couldn't win by 12 on the night when we picked against the spread. But.
Oh, I know. Did we gain a game on anyone? Like anyone important? Obviously, we gained a game on Dallas, but anybody in the Western Conference playoff race that we gained a game on today?
Jazz won.
Dang, we could have been 4 back, man. A first.
The Kings won. The Spurs won. Yeah. Warriors beat the Grizzlies, but they're both way behind us.
Yes.
So yeah, nothing of significance in terms other than us beating Dallas was good. Yep.
Anyway, here we go. Players: CJ McCollum, 32 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds tonight, 11 for 23 from the field, 7 for 13 from the three-point line. He's back. Like, as I said after last game, he struggled during his first 2 games. I didn't know how long it was going to take him to get his rhythm back. It was basically he could come out next game and drop a 30-point game, or it might take him another week or 2. He came out the next game, dropped a 30-point game, put this team on his back for stretches, had a lot of big buckets when Dame was out of the game, you know, kind of helped shore the tide when Dame was out of the game. And that's what we miss most with CJ when he is out, is just having that lethal score playing with the bench lineup. I'm glad we're back to staggering them. I can't believe there was ever a situation where we didn't stagger them, you know, like a couple seasons ago, where we subbed them out at the same time. I'm glad that, you know, half the game we have one of them in, the other half of the game we have both of them in, so to say. That's basically how it pans out, and just makes things a lot easier for our bench unit to have a guy like CJ in there, especially like this bench unit can survive, and we've seen it when they do move the ball. It can still be a very offensively potent bench unit, but when they play kind of as stagnant as they do, you need that ISO scorer to be able to bail out that offense, and CJ McCollum provided that tonight.
Yeah, this goes back to so Westbrook saying it's nice. Sorry, Zach is saying it's nice not to have to completely rely on Dame to handle the ball. CJ makes our team more dynamic. The only thing I'll say to that is I wish they wouldn't just take turns doing pick and roll or ISO. I wish they would, like when CJ brings it up, like, why not run Dame off a curl and see if he can get open for a 3? If not, then you can let CJ go ISO anyway or get a pick and roll later, like we always talk about. So, yeah, I just wish that it wasn't just them taking turns doing whatever they do. It's just I wish that was more of a, okay, CJ's got the ball. Now Dame can run off the ball or whatever. And that's not off ball when Dame's just standing there like watching CJ run a pick and roll and going one-on-one or whatever. So that's the only thing I'll change. But do I get credit for saying that last night that within a week we'll be forgetting that CJ was playing bad? And that...
Yeah, see, like, and I like agreed, so to say, but like I wasn't gonna guarantee it like you did.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, yeah. So you can have your credit for
Right.
guaranteeing it. But I don't know. Like, we've seen Rodney Hood have a big 21-point game. Hopefully, it's not something where like CJ struggles the next 2 games, because then I might be able to debate you on that one. Hopefully he's back, and hopefully he can continue what he was doing before his injury. And this game was kind of reflective of that. You know, more than half of his shots are threes. Also had 4 assists in this one. Defensively, I thought, you know, he had some decent moments as well. You know, I don't know. I wasn't watching intently, so maybe I'm wrong, but to me, he didn't make any glaring mistakes for the most part. So overall, pleased with it.
There was a couple plays, both him and Trent, where they got like super aggressive, like in your face, like trying to get up into someone defense. CJ ended up fouling when he did it, but I actually like that tenacity. Like, I want them to be like that more on defense and get like that. You know, they call it that dog in you or whatever. Like, just go after players. Like be aggressive. Like if you're not in the penalty, it's okay to occasionally foul. You don't have to do it in a stupid way where you're like over aggressive and just getting up into someone and obviously fouling them. But like I like that when you have that tenacity and you just like go after someone and you want to shut them down. It like looks like you don't have to like slap the floor, but you know, that type of attitude. I want to see that more often from these guys, and I think they play better defense when they're thinking in that mindset versus just, oh, here comes the pick, got to switch that, or you know, just sagging back on the off-ball situations and stuff like that, and falling asleep sometimes. So I wish they would do that a little more often. But overall, yeah, CJ had a really nice game. It was good to see him actually in rhythm tonight.
Yep, agreed. Somebody else also had a 30-point game. That, of course, is one Damian Lillard, who had 31.6 assists, 3 rebounds, 10 for 19 from the field. I believe he was also 7 for 13 from the 3-point line. Maybe I got that wrong. Let me double check.
He was 4 for 10.
He was 4 for 10. So I didn't update the 3-point shooting numbers on that. Sometimes I mix up lines and whatnot, but I can easily do that. Watch how fast I adjust. Make me an NBA coach with how fast this graphic just magically adjusts. No, I'm having issues. Never mind. Call me a college intramural YouTuber instead.
Community college.
Community college intramural YouTuber, flat earther, Neanderthal, donkey clown. You know, it's. I think I covered my bases there with the vocab that, you know, the people in the know that are privy to all the worthy information seem to use. So. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Oh, man.
You fixed it. Good job.
Yeah. Blockboy says, why are you in here pushing another podcast? Nobody... I didn't see anybody in here pushing. If anybody's saying they should leave our podcast for somebody else's, then yeah, we gon' remove that, you know. But Valley Pod's cool. Talking about them is completely fine. So, Valley Pod is they're homies, man. A lot of respect for those guys and what they do. Let's talk Dame. Glad I hate whenever he's clutching at his knee. I hate it. He's been getting banged up almost every single game. It's worrying me. Sorry, I gotta put Ahmad in timeout. It worries me how much he's getting nicked up. That's the biggest thing I want to talk about, because he had a typical Dame game, a little bit over his scoring average, 6 assists, shot the ball well, 40% from 3. He was 6 for 9 inside the arc. That's 67%. So, you know, he had a typical good Dame game, right? But I'm worried with how much he seems to get nicked up during games. Are you worried about that, or is it just something that's going to happen when you play the way Dame is?
This particular one, it didn't look good the way he got it fallen on. Luckily, it wasn't while he was standing up or while it was planted. But yeah, he seems to get those little thigh bruises and knee knocks a lot, and yeah, you never want to see him limping around. Kind of reminds me of I think it was the Knicks game where he was like holding his back the whole time, and that wasn't fun to watch him laboring
Mm-hmm.
out there. And but what do? We leave him in the game. We can't sub him out possibly or do anything different, right? Because I think that was in the third quarter, maybe. Yeah, so yeah, obviously I don't think it was serious or anything like that, which is good. But yeah, one of these times I'm worried that he's not going to get back up, knowing our injury luck, and our season would be very much in jeopardy if that happens. So I don't know what he can do differently to avoid it. He's always going to try to get to the rim. He's always going to have guys pressuring up on him, so it's going to happen where he hits his knee on things. But yeah, you just don't want to see it too often. But we have so many guys like him and his knees. Rocco gets
Rocco in
hit in
his
the face again
face, Nurk
tonight.
in his
Yeah,
face.
Cantor
Yeah.
got hit in the face tonight. Yeah,
It's rough, man. It's rough being a Blazer, honestly. You gotta be a tough guy to be a Blazer with how much we just get nicked up from game to game. How many elbows to the face, heads to the face, like knee to knee stuff we have to deal with, man. It's rough. But hopefully he can continue to stay as healthy as he has been. Because I mean, just I don't even gotta say why or anything. We all know why. Because of performances like tonight, it's just nice to see him and CJ get it both going on the same night, though. That's cool to see.
absolutely. And I'll never complain on a night for Lillard if he has plus 50% from the field and 40% from three. I'll take that every time.
Yep. Next guy we got Carmelo, who had another good game today. He had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 0 assists. He had some nice games lately, showcasing his passing ability, and had 2 assists last night. No assists tonight. But overall, he scored the ball efficiently, which is what you want from Carmelo Anthony. His first shot into the game was a very tough contested 3. Knocked it down, okay? If he's going to take contested jumpers, I want them to be 3s that he's stepping into, at least, compared to being long 2s where he's fading away. So, overall, good shooting night for him. Defensively, struggled at times. Some of that was us just deciding to switch him on to Doncic without them really setting much of a screen, and then Doncic blowing by him. Like, I don't expect Melo to be able to hang out there against Luka Doncic, so I don't really understand that. But overall, you want him to shoot the ball efficiently, and that's what he did tonight.
Yeah, man, 18 points on 11 shots. That's great for him. He did have, for the record, another backdoor pass to Dame when Dame got fouled and got 2 points at the line. And then he also had one later in the game, a backdoor cut to Derek Jones Jr., who got blocked by Porzingis after he caught the ball. So he did have a couple of nice passes. I just didn't have an assist on them. But yeah, I still feel like we're going a little too take your turn ISO heavy with him the last couple games, but it's hard to argue with the results of them, so I can't complain too much about it.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on and talk about Ennis, who had 5 offensive rebounds to go with his 14 points and 9 rebounds, total 7 for 13 from the field. Didn't get the free throw attempts that he got last night. He had 10 last night, had none tonight. But this is just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of guys had typical games. This is just a typical Ennis Cantor game. Is there anything noteworthy you want to touch on, or do you want to just chalk this up to a typical Ennis Cantor game?
Typical Ennis Cantor game. I just want to say if we have that mismatch, I think we should exploit that. Give him a couple post ups, and let him get his body in there. He's got that nice. It's like teetering on the travel, but like he kind of double steps and lays it in like a reverse lay-in, and so yeah, he's got a couple of nice go-to post moves when he has the advantage. I don't like him posting up against certain centers that are good defensively, but against a team like Dallas, I absolutely think that's something to exploit. yeah, like Trevin says, he does need to pass the ball sometimes, especially when he gets a rebound and the shot's not there. But because those are the best times to kick out to get our shooters open shots is off the chaoticness of a rebound.
I feel like
but
guys just know he's going to go back up with it and just
right,
time and block it from
true.
behind. I was
Yeah.
looking it up. He's like borderline top 10 in terms of shots that are blocked. Sometimes I wish he would just get a rebound and just reverse pivot, right? And just see what's behind him. Because normally there's like two guys just collapsing on him. And just see the floor and kick it out to an open shooter. You know, I don't know. But like, I don't want him doing that when he has the opportunity to lay it back in. So it's almost like you got to take the good with the bad there. It would probably be difficult for him to be aggressive when he needs to be and then make the pass out when he needs to be, considering a lot of times when he is getting putbacks, it's just him catching, laying it back in without seeing what's behind him. And, if he's catching the ball and worried about what's behind him, he's probably not doing that when he has the opportunity. So it's just kind of tough. There's, I feel it's a little nitpicky. I would love for him to be able to just shoot the ball when it's there and then just turn around and kick out to a wide open shooter when it's there. That would make his offensive rebounds even more deadly.
Yeah. Well, what's weird to me is there was a play in the second half where he got a post up and he immediately just spun and laid it in. And it was like super, super quick. And then sometimes he does that on offensive rebounds too. But so sometimes it's like really effective, or he doesn't even jump. He just grabs it and like pushes it back towards the rim almost. And it almost like catches people off guard. But then sometimes he gets his stuff blocked doing that like quick stuff because the defense is right there. So sometimes it's better to pump fake, but so it's like kind of confusing because like I want him to go up quick sometimes, but then it doesn't always work out. But overall, I mean, it's once again, it's hard to argue with someone who's shooting so well from the field.
Yep, agreed. Next guy we got is Rocco. Another good 3-point shooting night. He shot 37.5% from three. That's 3 for 8. Was 1 for 2 inside the arc. Had 3 steals, 11 points. Had the dagger, the 3 to clinch it. I love having this much confidence in a 3-point shot from a defensive forward. I have so much more confidence in his 3-point shot right now than I ever did in Harkless's or Aminu's. And it's crazy because like at the start of the season, it kind of felt like a Harkless or Aminu type forward. I'm not trying to hate on those guys. I think Harkless and Aminu were underrated when they were here. But, Rocco was struggling with his shot, and it almost felt like Harkless or Aminu shooting the ball, and we didn't get this guy to be Harkless or Aminu. We got this guy to be better than both those guys on both ends of the floor. So the fact that, he was on fire, he's been on fire during the month of March, and it's so nice having this much confidence in a 3-and-D forward's 3-point shot, as well as his defense, of course, because he's been phenomenal so far this year. I'm enjoying finally reaping the benefits of that trade that we made this past offseason.
Yeah, Covington, like Melo and Derek Jones, I mean, they've all been really solid the last couple months, and I don't think the Game 3 struggle is really any of those three's fault lately. It's been other factors, but Covington, nice solid game. He was really good on defense in this game. Flying around, he got a steal and a fast break dunk. We had another fast break with Melo finishing on a dunk. It's like, where is this team? Like, get out in transition and run with these athletic guys, right? But yeah, really solid game from Covington. And like you said, he hasn't. A lot of players would, like we saw with Little, maybe, kind of, and now Trent, losing confidence in their shot. We saw that with Anthony last year as well. So when they struggle, they just can't seem to make one. But Covington seemed to still stay confident and ready to shoot, even when he wasn't making them earlier in the year. And so you like that attitude moving forward, and that is why he can make a clutch shot or a clutch 3 late in a game like he did tonight, because he still has that confidence even if he's missed a few.
Yep. Well said. Gary Trent Jr. is our next guy. 7 points, 4 rebounds, and assists. 2 for 7 from the field. 1 for 5 from 3. He had some bad misses. Like, yeah, he had a couple 3-point shots that were decent looks that he wasn't all that close.
It was wide open. Yeah.
The one he made bounced in. This dude's in a major shooting slump. His 3-point percentage is below 40%, and I don't know, man. It's tough right now because I'm sitting here wondering how much is he helping the team when his 3-point shot isn't falling. You know, his defense hasn't been as good this year as it was in the bubble or as it was last season. He's obviously not rebounding the ball. 4 rebounds for him is quite a bit. Actually, he's averaging less than 2 rebounds, or I think around 2 rebounds a game. He's obviously not a playmaker for others, obviously not much of a ball handler, obviously not much of a finisher inside. So far this season, he's kind of just been a 3-point specialist, but he's in such a slump right now. You know, it's I'm kind of wondering if Anthony might be a better option on some nights, you know, when you need that second ball handler in with the bench, you know, if he's shooting like this. The thing is, you still got to play Gary Trent Jr. because he's such a talented shooter. You got to just give him a chance to work out with it, you know, work out of the slump, because he definitely will. So you just have to give him that opportunity. You can't bench him or anything. You can't play him 6 minutes like Stotts did earlier this year. But on nights where he struggles to shoot, man, it's just like he probably didn't help us at all, you know? So like a game like this, I don't come out of games like this feeling like he helped us win, so to say.
It's also not helping his trade value if you want to go that route too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If he doesn't help his trade value, he's not helping his free agency value too, which
That's
makes
true.
me want to trade him less. So
until right after the
works.
trade deadline, he gets on fire again and gets his 3-pointers up to like 45%.
Yeah, he probably saw what we were saying about trading him for John Collins, and he's just tanking his trade value. And then he's going to average like 30 a game off the bench, shooting 50, 50, 95, and going to get a $25 million a year contract. Watch.
Yeah.
Watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still have confidence in Trent. I just... so his one assist, he actually drove to the middle of the key and kicked out to a wide open shooter. We got an easy 3. And that's like... I just wish he, much like we talked about CJ for like 3 or 4 years prior to this one, like when you draw the defense in or you're in an ISO situation, if you look to pass out to shooters when the defense collapses, those options are there, and that's a way to get our assist and passing numbers up, even if we're playing an ISO heavy offense. So I really like that play a lot, but it was in the first half, and that was the only time I think he passed the entire game. So yeah, it's just I don't know if he shouldn't pass up good looks, but he definitely shouldn't be ISOing when he's playing this badly.
Yep. I'm ready to get through the players so we can talk about.
Yeah. Real quick, just about Trent. So, we've talked about this before, but David, you asked a good question. Do you think he's got some heavy legs from playing big minutes for the first time in his career?
Mm-hmm. It's very possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's been playing crazy minutes right now. So we will see, you know, if like maybe getting less minutes kind of helps him out. That could be also a reason why his energy is lacking a bit.
And Tori, from your intramural community college experience, when you got heavy legs as a shooter, were you kind of tight? Like
it made it harder to shoot, man.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, my intramural college basketball was obviously just as good as the NBA. So if I got heavy legs, then I assume Gary Trent Jr. will get heavy legs, because obviously I was just in amazing shape, you know, in order to play intramural college basketball.
Yeah, but I definitely, all jokes aside, that I definitely think that is a factor. This guy, I mean, even in college, you don't play that many minutes. So even if he was starting on a good team, like he was for Duke, like he was not going to play like 32, 33 minutes a game. So I think that is wearing on him a little bit, all the injuries, and he's had to play big minutes, plus the pressure of trying to make sure you stay in the rotation once CJ comes back and all that stuff. And when CJ starts to play well, that kind of puts the pressure on you to do well in your minutes that you play. And he's still playing big minutes even with CJ back. So hopefully he can just get some momentum going. It kind of sucks that it's happened so soon. I mean, I know it started to happen before the All-Star break, but he had a week off, maybe to get his legs back under him. But it doesn't seem to be the case so far in the second half of the season.
Yep. Let's talk about Rodney Hood. He hit a couple decent shots, was 2 for 3 from the three-point line. Also did a good job on the boards with 8 rebounds. So he had an impact on tonight's game. He's been pretty impactless. I guess, is that a word? Impactless? Non-impactful. I think that's better. He's been pretty non-impactful the past few games, so it's nice to see him have a bit of an impact. I don't agree with playing him the minutes he played tonight, given how he's played lately. You know, Hood played 22 minutes. Nas only played 11. I don't agree with that. But Hood was a plus 13. Nas was a minus 11, so maybe it was the right move. It's just, I don't know. Like, we've seen games like this from Rodney Hood, and then he just is invisible the next 4. So I hope this isn't something where he's just he's supplanted Nasir Little as the backup 3. I don't know. It's nice to see him play well. Every time he plays well, it's like, man, I wish he could just be more consistent, and it's not something that I expect.
It was nice to see him hit 2 or 3 threes. I think that's if he was giving us nothing else, just hit those corner threes when you get them, when you get those attempts. Like, obviously you're not going to hit all of them, but 50% or so, like what he was doing last year. If he can just do that, then he can have an impact on the games as just a spot up corner shooter. And I think they should just use him in that way and not try to ISO him or do other things with him until he starts getting comfortable. And then if he starts hitting a good percentage of those corner threes, then maybe start to mix in other things. But I wish they would just use him as a shooter versus trying to like do all this other stuff as well. But I thought he was decent on the defensive end tonight. I can't really say he did a lot wrong on that end and rebounded the ball well also.
Yep. Agreed. My mind's kind of in the Twitter DMs right now. Derrick Jones Jr., 3 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal, 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line. Another game where at least half his attempts come from behind the arc. I hate to see it. I want to see more designed action with utilizing him as a cutter, utilizing him as a lob target. But 4 assists, nice to see. I don't really remember any of them specifically, but he kind of quietly filled up the stat sheet slightly, I guess. I don't know. It was a pretty quiet game from him.
Yeah. I thought he was okay defensively as well. Had that nice pass on the fast break for a mellow dunk. Had 4 assists overall. I'll take that. I don't know. He didn't seem to... speaking of impact, I didn't feel like he had a huge impact on this one. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a horrible game either. I mean, he just has to find a way to somehow get open, cutting towards the basket. And I just wish he would take that upon himself to make those cuts, because if he's scoring on them, the coaches aren't going to get mad at him, or at least I hope not. So I think he's just going to have to take it upon himself to be the cutter that we want him to be versus it being planned as an actual play.
Yep. Agreed. I don't know. I never have anything to add on tonight. I don't know. Just every time you're done talking, it's just I have nothing to add on because you cover all the bases. You cover all the bases very, very well, and it leaves me with nothing to say. So you get to sound smart, and I get to sound dumb, where I just sit here like, yeah.
Well, you're a flat earther. So.
I am a flat earther. Freaking flat intramural college earther.
Just real quick. So Caleb Swanigan, and absolutely just lay out. Just don't talk to each other if you guys can't say anything nice. Don't want to have to put you guys in timeout. But for the record, we do have full bird rights on Gary Trent Jr., so it's just a matter of whether the team wants to spend the money on him, not that we don't have money for him. We absolutely do have the money for him if we want to pay him whatever he wants or whatever we agree to. So that's the situation.
Yes. You guys should chill. Tori said, agreed, drink. Yeah, go ahead and turn that into a drinking game if you guys want. It is a Friday night, so it makes sense tonight. Last guy we got, Nas. Hit a 3. Looked good. Had no other stats. Played 11 minutes. I mean, he doesn't mess up the team when he's out there. That's the thing I like about Nas. He fits in. He doesn't mess up the team when he's out there. He takes generally good shots. Just doesn't take many, and then he plays defense. It's no complaints, nothing too noticeable this game, but it's nice that you can throw him out there and he's not going to mess anything up.
Yeah. So CJ the Goat's asking, did he get a block? It was kind of a question on the broadcast too. I thought it should have counted as a block, but
he did not have a block registered.
The official scored, and he was a team worst -11 in 10 minutes, which isn't good, but that kind of.
I mean, but there's a lot of games where there's a lot of games where he's quiet and he leads the team in plus minus. So it's just it's noisy. With a guy like him, he doesn't control much offensively. So like if he's a positive or a negative, usually it's because, a guy like Dame, CJ, or Melo is either making shots or missing shots. It usually comes down to that.
Yeah. And, I don't like... Because he came in with a little over 5 minutes left in the third quarter and then was taken out with a little over 2 minutes left. So he got just over 3 minutes of action, and then in comes Hood for him. I didn't like to see that. I feel like that's a little bit of going to your vets versus, letting the young guys flourish or maybe make mistakes on the court. I don't want to see Nas get into a situation where he's thinking every time he messes up, he's going to have to get pulled and he might not get back into a game. I don't think that benefits any player to play that way or have that mindset. So I just wish he would get consistent. Like if he's going to be in, he's going to be in for 5 or 6 minutes, and Stotts will let him work through his mistakes. And then, if he's not playing well, then of course don't play him into the fourth quarter, let him or whatever. But if he is playing well, like we saw, I don't remember if that was the last game or the game before, but there was a time where he played almost like 10 straight minutes because he was playing really well. And so that's how I want them to approach it, not just like, okay, you play 2 minutes, you're out of here. like I don't think that's good for his development.
Yeah, agreed. Take a drink. Anyway, so moving off the players, let's just go into this, right? We don't shy away from drama here. If you guys only want basketball breakdown, we're going to take a hiatus, and then we'll go around the NBA, look at standings and whatnot. But if you only want basketball analysis, then this segment probably isn't for you. We're not one to shy away from drama. We're pretty straight up with stuff. We speak our mind, and don't take kindly to people that just insult us for our opinion and are just downright disrespectful for no reason. But, there's people out there that are like that, and there's people out there specifically in media positions that are like that. And we got called out by everyone's favorite post-game host, Danny Meringue, on a podcast today. Do you want me to just read? Do you want me to just read the quote? Because I got provided a shout out to I'm not gonna say who I was DMing or anything, just because I don't know if they would or wouldn't want me to. But
I mean, you could do that, or you could just play the recording. I know what time it was.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that man's voice. But so Sean Highkin, Danny Meringue are on a podcast with some Mavericks guys, and somebody asked about the people that want Stotts gone. And here is what Dan Meringue said, word for word. This is a long-winded quote. Shout out to the person who I will keep anonymous who worded this or who typed this out for me, this quote. But Dan Meringue responds to this question saying, "It's mostly psychotic banter. you get these guys, they start up a YouTube channel and they play intramural basketball at community college. One of these guys, I call them the Stotts truthers, like flat earthers. One of these guys, when Dame was addressing this on Twitter, somebody said something about Stotts and Dame said, "We kind of ride with him," end quote. He came to Dame, I assume he's talking about you here, Eric? He came to Dame and he told Dame on Twitter.
You and I both tweeted at Dame after comments recently.
Yeah, he's basically saying one of us went to Dame and told Dame that he doesn't know what he's talking about and here's why. The Meringue's quote goes on to say, and that's one of the leaders of this whole Fire Stotts movement. And I saw that and I just couldn't. My jaw literally dropped. So I was like, he just told Damian Lillard that Damian Lillard doesn't understand the game of basketball and how it actually works. You just told one of the best 5 or 6 players on the planet that he doesn't understand. So yeah, they're loud, but they really aren't that many. But they definitely hold hands and they're there to build each other up at every opportunity. So if you see one, you're bound to see 10 more. That was the end of what was quoted. I don't know if there was more. Was there more to that he went on to say, Eric?
Yeah, both him and Hyken, they mentioned how everyone who's a Fire Stotts guy has a picture of a player or an anime picture as their Twitter profile picture, and I forgot what they said, but anyone who has a Fire Stotts tag in their profile is, I forgot what they called it, but yeah, so they went off about that. Yeah, they said some other stuff too, but yeah, it was several minutes of them just ranting about the Fire Stotts crew. And so they did go. I think it was Hyken who said, so you're basically an idiot if you want to fire Stotts. But if he doesn't perform and they don't get out of the first round, I could definitely see him losing his job and not being the coach of this team next year. But you're an idiot if you think he doesn't deserve to be the coach. Or it's like, well, that's exactly what we're saying. Like we think that's going to happen, and if it does happen, he should have been fired. Yeah, knowing that was going to come. And so yeah. Let me just
respond to this. Okay. This happened like an hour before the game. I didn't see this till after the game. If you guys saw my tweet, that is when I learned of this. I've said on the record that I personally don't like the guy. Okay? And I'm pretty sure people can see why I don't like the guy personally. Because he makes things personal. He makes things personal that don't need to be personal. I think it's... And I'm guilty of this in the past, but I try and be better than this, right? And I try and never do this anymore. And I hold myself to the standard where I don't want to do this, right? I think it's extremely... It's very unclassy to just straight up insult somebody for their basketball opinions. It's just unclassy. Especially if you have a platform, okay? Especially if you're supposed to be held to a higher standard than some random guy on Twitter. I get some random guy on Twitter. I have somebody on Twitter or somebody in my comment section all the time. Somebody that comes into chat all the time saying I'm a moron, don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. That's to be expected, right? When you have a media platform and you have ranted at people before in their DMs, which Meringue has done, that they have to hold themselves to a certain standard and not, be too toxic, basically, and not... not say things that could get them in trouble or they can't make it in the industry, right? I've had Dan Meringue rant at me about how I have to hold myself to a higher standard, okay? Or else I'm not going to make it in this industry. So that's also part of the reason why I take issue with this. This dude is on here saying, okay, Stotts' criticism is psychotic, so I guess I'm psychotic now. I'm a flat earther. He called people that want more ball movement after the trapped Neanderthals the other day. Okay, the dude will just downright personally insult you for a basketball opinion that he doesn't agree with. Okay, so fine, whatever. I don't know why he ranted at me in my DMs before about how I need to hold myself to a high standard with everything I say or I'm not going to make it in his industry. Okay? I It's just ridiculous, man. This is the same guy who, we've tried to have conversations before. He doesn't choose to engage in actual conversations because he'd rather engage in immature personal attacks instead, right? That's easy for him to just sit there mocking people, calling them Neanderthals, and insulting them, than it is to actually engage in a legitimate conversation with us. Me and him had beef way back in the day. And some of it was, my fault. We apologized, I apologized to him before about, us getting into some beef on a forum before he even worked for Blazers Edge, right? I apologized to him, trying to be the bigger man. He said, all good. All right, it's buried. First chance he didn't like something I said on Twitter, he brought it back up. Basically, there's just a long history with him just being a complete asshole. I'm not planning on leaking any of that or anything. I don't think it's productive. I'm just telling you guys so you guys know the full story, since we talk about it a lot. And I just think, if somebody's going to call me out like this, I will call them out on all the stuff they've done that I decided not to ever really talk about. I've talked about some of it. I haven't talked about the whole thing, right? Dude's just been disrespectful for a long time, right? I can't hate when, you bury the hatchet. If somebody apologizes to you for something they said in the past, right? And then you say, oh, it's all good, I don't hold a grudge or whatnot. Don't then use that against them the first chance you get. Or else you're lying by saying, oh, I'm not holding a grudge. It's all good, right? I was trying to be the bigger man. I thought, he was a decent enough person to not just lie to my face and say it's all good. I didn't think he'd just then turn around and immediately basically use it against me the next chance he gets, but he has. So that is kind of the backstory before this. I have a serious... honestly, I think it's funny. I love this, that he's just calling me out on a podcast. That's I'm cool with that, man.
I think it's funny that he went on this is in Dallas, and he's like, has us on his mind. That's kind of cute, right?
Yeah, and we talk about him a lot, so I guess, he owns real estate in your mind too. Sure, I don't know. I just think it's funny, man. The dude, let me just think about how I want to say this. The dude basically acts like we are beneath him because of our basketball opinions. The dude is extremely disrespectful when, we've been on what seems like okay-ish terms and just tried to have basketball conversations on Twitter. He completely ignores it whenever we make a good point, and then he mocks us or other people who have the same opinions as us, because he's done it to you. He's been extremely rude on Twitter to Thomas Oransky.
He's a really nice guy.
And Thomas Oransky is one of the nicest guys out there, but Thomas Oransky has some criticism of Stotts, and Dan Meringue, that's just unacceptable to him. He will basically talk down to you like you are a, quote, as he said before, a Neanderthal. All right? So, I don't know. This comes up today, and I wish I could say I'm shocked, but, my goodness. First off, I didn't play intramural college basketball. I actually played college basketball that's probably 3 levels above any basketball he's ever played, so he shouldn't even go there. I don't even know why he would. I don't even really, I try not to use that against him despite how much I just dislike him, okay? So I don't know why he's bringing up basketball experience, but just to set the record straight, it wasn't intramural basketball. It was college basketball. 2, he's sitting here on this podcast saying... One of us called out Damian Lillard saying he doesn't understand the game of basketball. Huh?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, he's basically making up stuff to try and use against us, which I think is even more pathetic. Okay? That's just pathetic beyond the just insulting stuff. Now he's putting words into our mouths that we never even said. If he really wanted to, he could have quoted said tweet. The only thing I've said against Dame, you guys know, I've had a lot of people say you aren't hard enough on Dame. You're too much of a Dame fan, yada yada. The only thing I had a problem with Dame saying is just the type of mindset after a game where we lose to the worst team in the league and saying, oh, it's just hard to beat them twice in a row. and just kind of like that defeatist mentality. That's the only thing I didn't like. But that's just, I would want him to be a little bit more upset when we lose to the worst team in the league and not say, oh, well, it's hard to beat the worst team in the league. That's the only thing I've had for Dame at all, right? And maybe he's talking about my tweet that I had after that, where I was a little bit disappointed with that. How is that me saying he doesn't understand the game of basketball and how it works? How is that, me saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about? I can't think of anything you would ever even say that would be anything remotely close to that.
Yeah, I remember tweeting at him or responding to something he said about Vanderpool being passed over. And he made a comment about how assistant coaches don't have a lot of say in things or whatever. So I remember asking him something along the lines of, well, like, what do you think Vanderpool would do differently with your defense or something if he had like the ability to do so? I forgot how I worded it or whatever, but that's the point I was going for. It wasn't anything like, you're so dumb, this doesn't make any sense, like, you're the biggest idiot, and I know everything about basketball, and you know nothing, you think you're a superstar. Like, we didn't say that crap. But I just want to say three things. So, one, Leo sums this up really well. He says he just resorts to insults because he has no valid arguments. And that's basically how I feel. This guy, in no part of any of their ranting today did they say anything about Stott's actual coaching. It was just all, again, this crap that makes no difference. It's just like, well, Stotts is good, and if you don't think so, you're a dumbass. And that's like all it is. That's all their argument is. And Brandon, if he's still in here, knows that I purposely tried to start an actual basketball conversation about the traps with him and get him to respond and all that. And the guy just flat out refused to interact with me. He refused to do it. I tried to get Brandon to egg him on to maybe like have a conversation, and like he just will not reply to me or whatever. I don't know if he has me muted or whatever, but if he saw my Dame tweet, I don't know how he would have seen that if I'm muted or whatever. But I
know the only reason you post to him is just to show that he just is avoiding it.
Yeah.
That you have a well thought out point and he just avoids it. Like that's why you do what you tweet what you tweet. It seems like to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
honestly, like I've been trying really hard to stick to actual basketball points. Like, this is how I feel. This is like what I would do different. This is why I think this situation is not acceptable or whatever. And it's always just, like I see him respond to people will like repost basically what I say and like to get him to see it or whatever. And it's always like, well, we don't have Aaron Gordon. We messed up in 2016. How is Stott supposed to do anything with this team in 2021 if we signed 3 free agents in 2016, right? Mm-hmm. Like stuff like that is like never anything to do with what the actual discussion is. And that's my main problem with him. And then the fact here's the thing. Let me just and then I'll let you go. Let me just add on to that. Like, anybody who's generally respectful with their disagreement, ask them if we are disrespectful to them. That's what I try to say. And if they feel like we are, I want to try and be better then. You know what I mean? Like, I want to hold myself to a higher standard. And that just circles back to, it's crazy that Meringue has ranted at me privately about, holding myself to a standard with my behavior. And I hold myself to a higher standard than him when I'm the YouTuber and he's in the industry. Well, and then I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. He called us out last year.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I was going to take it somewhere different, but you can continue talking. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and this is how it is with the media, man. It's just ridiculous. Like, Dan Meringue has personally kind of insulted us, but the thing is, like, he's a, like, from all accounts, everything I've heard, he's a good guy. It's, petty internet stuff and whatnot. It's not on anywhere near the level it's been at with Dan Meringue. So like a guy like Chad, I beefed with him in the past. Now he has this block. Like, whatever. I personally, nothing against Dan Meringue. I don't have anything personally. I wish he would, not
be as not be as kind of not talk down to people the way he does sometimes. I don't really like that, but it's nowhere near as bad as Meringue, the way Meringue acts is. So with like a guy like Dan or with a guy like Chad, it's not the same. I don't have any personal beef with him. I'm sure, we could have a conversation with him and it would be respectful. And if it was like an in-person conversation, he wouldn't say the same stuff he said on Twitter. Also, when we started off doing YouTube, we were a little bit more brash. So we've dialed that down. We've tried to be the best versions of ourselves. And, the only time I don't try and be the best version of myself is when I feel disrespected, which is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and so here's my thing. Dan thinks like we want to be him.
Yes.
And that's complete BS. I do not want to be Dan Meringue. I think that's great. He worked his way up and conned people into getting his own show somehow. That's great for you. But like, he talks to us and to other people like, look at me. I went from nothing to being on the post-game show with the Blazers, and I'm awesome, that kind of thing. And then he tries to talk to you like that's your goal or whatever. When, like, honestly, we don't need that stuff. Like, I'm perfectly happy talking to you guys. I do this for fun. I'm not like, obviously, if a team came to me and was like, hey, I really like your stuff, would you be interested in doing this for like some like paycheck or what, like, some sort of deal? Like, I might think about that, and that might be something I'd be interested in doing, but I probably wouldn't if it meant I had to just like say whatever they told me to say. Mm-hmm. But like, that's not what the purpose of the show is. Like, we're perfectly fine. Yeah, we'd love for this channel to blow up and to be like the main Blazer thing that people go to for analysis and all that kind of stuff. And I'm totally fine with that. Like, if it doesn't happen that way, if we just stick to what we have right now, and that's all it ever is, it's still a lot of fun to sit here and talk basketball with you guys, and to always like have this platform to just talk. And if you guys eventually get tired of hearing us talk, then that's fine. Like, we'll deal with that when it happens, but we're not like gonna be like, oh man, what did we go wrong? What did we do? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm not trying to get his position. I'm not trying to like make it in this industry. I have a job. I'm fine, perfectly content. I have a family. I love my life. So like, I just don't get it. Like, the only thing that makes sense to me is why he would bring this up on another person's podcast is that he's threatened by us, and that's the reason why he treats us the way he does. That's the way he treats other people. He absolutely views us as a threat. He knows that we're starting to show people that you don't have to accept all this crappy coverage that the local media provides for you, with a few exceptions. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but like, we're actually, there's sources, whether it's from us or other YouTubers, or there's plenty of other podcasters around. You could probably find like 100 different podcasts on the Blazers right now. Mm-hmm. So like, there's avenues to go to find other information. You don't have to watch their post-game show or our post-game show or whatever. So like, I think he feels like everyone who's doing this or starting out a podcast or a YouTube channel is trying to get to where he is. And he doesn't realize that, like, we could build this bigger than Blazers Outsiders or whatever eventually if we put in the work and people liked us and stuff. So like, we don't need to get onto mainstream TV to have a platform or whatever, and I think he's scared about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I interpret it, and maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe it's coming from somewhere else. I don't know where else it would be coming from. It seems pretty logical to me that is the case. I don't even like sit here like hoping his show fails or hoping he loses his show or anything like that, bro. I don't like him, but it's not like, he can have his post-game show. I don't care. He could, talk as many fans as he wants to on his post-game show into loving Terry Stotts. Cool. If that's what those people want to do, cool. Like, great. I don't care. I don't want to be him. I don't want to go his path in the industry. I want to make my own path. I don't want to walk his path. I want to make my own path. And that's what I've tried to do here. I feel like even people that disagree with us have to respect that. I'm honest and call it like it is, and try to be respectful. Because I know how it is when people aren't. That's why we're having this conversation. But yeah, I don't want to make it in his industry, man. But I'll still hold myself to a standard as if I'm trying to make it in his industry. The only exception will be when I'm just fed up and done, and tweet out F Danny Meringue, because that's how I feel right now, and that's I am outward with who I am. But also, I think, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat. But I feel like being ourselves makes our content better, because it feels like, I feel like you guys know us like as people, so to say, compared to sitting on here just kind of regurgitating basic talking points and whatnot. I feel like, if we shielded who we were, it wouldn't be as good. There wouldn't be that connection, So, like, the one part that I really have an issue with is he's like taking shots at what it kind of feels like he's taking shots at this community. Okay, yeah. Like, you can say whatever you want about me, but it seems like he's trying to take a shot at this community and people that like our content, and that I have a bigger issue with than anything. Say whatever the hell you want about me. You can go and rant on Twitter about me, or rant on some other team's podcast about me, and I'll call it out and say it's ridiculous and whatnot, but don't sit here like attacking my community. And it's not like he outward, it wasn't like it was him like straight up saying, yeah, anybody who watches Blazers Uprise is a moron or whatnot. But the quote here, they're loud, but they really aren't that many, but they definitely hold hands, and they're there to build each other up at every opportunity. So if you see one, you're bound to see 10. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't like that at all. That's just silly. Because here's the thing. We have never attacked people that like his stuff. How many times have you guys heard us sit here and say, you know what, if you want the type of content that the Outsiders provides, where it isn't as critical of the team, in our opinion, a little bit more sugar-coated, like, if people want that, cool, more power to you. We cover the team in different ways. We fill different niches, so I'm not even offended if you'd rather watch Blazers Outsiders than Blazers Uprise. I've said that at least 100 times, I feel like.
Yeah.
So don't say here attacking.
Shows I said that. Yeah, someone who was being rude to us. Yeah,
and that's the honest truth. Like, cool. If you enjoy that type of content more, sure. We cover the team in a different way. We're a little bit more critical, and we try and make it constructive criticism. But we're not as positive as they are. And if you just want positivity and feel good stuff, then that would be the post-game show for you. It would be Blazers Outsiders, right? I am comfortable enough with what we're doing to not feel threatened by that, so to say. I don't know if you can say the same for him, but I don't insult his viewers. So I don't know. I kind of interpret part of what he said as kind of a shot to our community. I think that's weak. Yeah, that's just something I got an issue with.
Honestly, I mean, maybe once, but for both of us, out of like joking or like a game where we were particularly mad, maybe we hashtag fire thoughts. I don't know if I've ever even done that. I definitely don't have that in my profile picture. Mm-hmm. I definitely don't encourage you guys to go on Twitter and hashtag fire thoughts. Like that, he makes it seem like we're just sitting here. Let's all get together and make sure everyone hears us fire thoughts right now. I don't care. Like, if you guys, we have 159 people watching right now. If all 159 of you are like, these guys want to fire thoughts, I don't really know. Like, I still think he has some good qualities. Like, that's totally fine. Like, I'm not trying to convince anyone that my way is the right way. I just tell you how I feel watching the Blazers. Tori does the same. We try to break down why we feel that way. We don't just say, oh, if you like Stotts in chat, you are, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say to you, because like I can't even have a basketball conversation with you. We try to challenge people to say, well, can you give us a reason to dispute what we're saying if you think we're being too critical or whatever? And or like we've had issues at times when people then don't provide any reasons and just keep on with the same old lines, and that gets to be kind of annoying at times. But other than that, like, we're not sitting here trying to convince everyone. Like, we're like, obviously we've become the face of the Fire Stotts movement or whatever, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if we're necessarily I mean, I guess we were among the first to actually point out some of his deficiencies and stuff like that, so like I'll take that. But like, don't say we're here just trying to convince everyone that Stotts needs to be fired. We're just like, you can still think whatever you want after you watch our show. Like, we're just trying to tell you what we see, and if you guys like what we say, then that's fine. If you agree with us, that's good. Great. If you want to like disagree with us, that's also great. But like, we're not going to hold hands and all be like, let's grab our pitchforks and go down to one center court and we will not leave until Stotts is fired. Like, we're not going to do that. Like, and we recognized, I mean, all of last year, for you OGs who were with us last year, know that every time we had that in the chat, like, fire Stotts, we all told you guys he was not going to get fired. There is no chance last season he was going to get fired after coming off the Western Conference Finals. And then he got all the injury excuses last year. There was no chance he was going to get fired this last offseason as well. So the earliest he could get fired is if we were just like awful this year, and at this point we were like below 500, maybe they would start to consider it. And even though they are playing well, it sounds like there are some people in our front office and ownership that are starting to question whether he's the right man for the job, and that's great. I have a problem with it if no one ever questions anything, like, oh, Olshey's doing a great job, McGowan's doing a great job, Stotts is doing a great job. It's all rainbows and butterflies, right? And or what, rainbow sprinkles, right? That's the term.
Oh yeah, rainbow sprinkles and butterflies or something like that, or like the magic sprinkle game plan or whatever. Yeah, I don't. It's something like that.
But like, any job should be like, you should have evaluations and you should be questioning certain things, and you should always be wanting to get better and improve your situation. And that is magnified by 1,000, I believe, with a sports franchise where your goal is to win a championship and or at least compete for one, and do like at least do the best you can with what you have. And some people can argue that Stotts does do that, and that's fine. If you want to argue that, that's great. I don't agree, and I tell you why I don't agree. And if you don't agree with me, that's also fine. It's just like, I don't see why you have to call out everyone who doesn't like Stotts as being some stupid idiot, because that's not the case. Like, we're trying to have like critical thinking and do that set of stuff, and you can have that and like Stotts too.
Here's the thing: if you think we are a stupid idiot, show us how we're a stupid idiot with your basketball points.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't sit there and, oh, they want to pass the ball, those Neanderthals. That just makes you look bad. That doesn't make us look bad. Like, make if you are as basketball smart as you seem to think you are, then bring up a basketball argument and bring up a good argument and show us why we're flat earthers, because your argument is so good. But he doesn't seem to be capable of that, right? How often have you heard of, oh, well, Dame likes him, so obviously Dame knows more than you. You don't know more than Dame. Or, wow, you really think you know more than an NBA coach? Or it's stuff like, well, I talk to people who are in the business who say Stotts is a good coach, so they're smarter than you. It's like, that's like the type.
You're not in practice.
Yeah, you're not in practice. You don't see. You aren't privy to what they're trying to do. Like, it's stuff like that. Those arguments are whack to me. My 2 cents.
Yeah, it doesn't really combat anything we're saying either.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous.
Let me get to a few donos.
Yeah, let me think the dodos. Okay, I got it. Was there one before Dro? Because I can't scroll up. Okay, shout out Dro for the $5 donation. He says, Mr. Meringue is a clown, bro. He has definitely never touched a basketball. He has. Have y'all seen that meringue range? I mean, I wish I had meringue range, man. That kind of has a ring to it, meringue range. He rides thoughts. It doesn't matter what level of ball you play to know it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't like recommend you guys necessarily going out and attacking him or anything. Like, you guys can do whatever you want, but I'm not sitting here saying to go attack him or insult him or anything. Like, I try and be above that. It's hard when you have stuff said like this about you on some random podcast that they probably thought, ooh, we would never hear. You know, it's kind of whack to me. I wonder who found that. I wonder how that started. I need to go back and find that out. But yeah, I mean, all I have to say to that, Dono, I appreciate it, and I wish I had meringue range. Shout out Lil Bikel for the $2 dono. He says, "Is Danny Standards calling others Neanderthals?" Yes, flat earthers, Neanderthals, that type of stuff, those types of insults. Shout out Kyle Wilson for the $5 dono. He says, "The Beavers win, the Blazers win. It's a great day for my sports fanhood. Sorry about your bracket, Tori, but sacrifices need to be made." I'm cool. I'm sitting in first place in my bracket pool. I picked Oral Roberts correctly. I've never picked a 15 seed correctly, and this year I did, so I'm happy. It's been a
and
good
you have
day.
Video proof.
And I have video proof. Brandon G, $5 dono. He says, "Wellness checkpoint. Have you had a drink of water lately? Take a sip." Sorry that this checkpoint is late, but appreciate the dono, Brandon. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I should take a sip of something. I got a Gatorade here if that works for you. You know, it's hydrating. Eric, you got water in that cup, or is that vodka?
Yeah, that's water. I was drinking soda because got a call in early this morning. Working on about 2.5 hours of sleep, so
I only slept 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
as well, but that's because my hours suck and I wanted to watch March Madness, so I got up at 9 and fell asleep at 6:30. So I'm gonna try and fix my hours around by getting up early to watch this basketball. But yeah, no, it should be vodka in that cup. It's a Friday night, man. Oh my goodness, could you imagine this segment if we were tipsy, Eric? That would have been bad.
We definitely have to do that someday.
Yeah, we can't discuss drama, though, because that'll be bad. But I guess I'll end with this. Like, hopefully drama's entertaining for you guys. I don't know. Like, if you guys are entertained by this, I'm cool with... What were you saying?
I know some people don't like it.
Some people don't like it, some people do. I don't know. If you're entertained by it, cool. You know, I try and entertain you guys as well as give you guys good analysis. That's basically the two things I try and do. You know, I preface this segment by saying if you only want basketball analysis and you're not into drama, then this segment probably isn't for you. So I understand that some people are into it. You know, but we broke down this game. Yeah. Ed Moyle says prefer the analysis. I mean, I put the disclaimer at the start. You know, we talked a lot more drama last year. You know, we've just been all in on breaking down games pretty much night after night. So, and we do our best night after night on that. So,
Brandon asked a good question. He says, hypothetical, if Dame was promised, in all caps, the power to choose the coach, and he wants thoughts, and they fire him / pissed off Dame, would we want that? I wouldn't. I think he's been made that promise, but I accept that maybe he hasn't been. So what I say to that is, Dame actually, Jason Quick was actually asked this on a local radio program recently, if Dame has like input, like if Olshey talks to him about any move that's made or whatever, and Quick was like, you'd be surprised he doesn't want that responsibility. And Dame's even said this, like, he doesn't want to be the reason a player loses his job or gets traded or maybe never plays in the league again. He wants to be the reason why he stays on a roster or does that. He's extremely loyal. So I think Dame doesn't want to necessarily have that ability. Yes, if like back in the Pelican series, he definitely went to management and said, don't fire Dame, or don't fire Stotts, and he was the reason why he probably wasn't fired that summer. But I think if you went to him and you just said, hey, I know you really like Stotts. We're not trying to put the blame on Stotts. But in this situation, like, maybe it might be best to bring in a new, fresh set of eyes and just see if there's anything different we can do as a team. Like we've given Stotts 9 years. We just feel like maybe some of his messages are becoming a little stale, and you guys aren't responding to that, especially if we don't improve from, the back half of the league of defense. Just be like, well, maybe someone new can maybe teach you something different that can unlock some of that potential on that end. And I'm sure he's going to be mad for a while. Look at Kyle Lowry in Toronto for a perfect example of that. He was pissed. Like DeMar DeRozan was his best friend, and they traded him away, and then they fire a coach that he likes, and like he was pouting, but then they win a title that year, and he got over it. Like within a few weeks after the season started, he was back to being completely fine and happy again, and all that kind of stuff. It's I don't see a situation where Dame is saying these things for multiple years now that he is loyal to Portland. Portland is where he wants to be. He's not going to want to join other teams on a super team and all that. And then we bring in another coach after we explain to him the reasoning. And then all of a sudden he's like, I hate it here. I want out right away. Like, get me out of here. I don't see that happening. Yes, he's going to be mad initially, but I don't think he's that unreasonable to not understand that he was given plenty of time to work something out. 9 years is an eternity for coaches, especially when they don't have a single Western Conference Finals victory under their belt. So I don't think he would be mad at that situation, long term at least.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta make tough decisions to truly reach the highest level. I mean, it's really hard to win a championship, and sometimes you have to make hard decisions to get there. Like, as far as, CJ talking after the game, talking about how Stotts empowers them and whatnot, like, okay, sure. I would want to go out and get a coach that empowers these players in the same way and are better with X's and O's. I think there's probably a coach out there that qualifies. So I want to go have that head coach as our head coach. Because, I don't want a coach to come in here and say, yeah, Dame, you have to toe the line to be able to shoot threes, and CJ, if you're hot, we're not going to isolate you ever, or stuff like that. I don't want a coach to come in here and try and completely, hold these guys. Like, I want a coach to come in here and take away from what these guys can do, from a skill standpoint. I feel like most coaches wouldn't. It's you see a lot of guys, I mean, a lot of guys in this league that seems like they don't really have the reins on them, at least if they're stars, You look at Mike Malone and everything he lets Nikola Jokic do, right? I mean, I don't know. I just don't see a coach that would come in here and just say, yeah, Dame, you can't shoot from 31 feet even though you shoot a high percentage and it completely stretches out the defense. I don't know. I think a lot of coaches could come in here and empower in a similar way, but they'd probably be better with X's and O's. So I'm not disagreeing with what CJ says about, how Stotts is finds that fine line between coaching and empowering. I just think that we could have that and have a coach that's also better with schematics and X's and O's and some of the things he draws up. So maybe I'm a little too naive with that. Maybe you could make that argument. I don't know. That's just how I feel on it.
Real quick before I comment to that, so Sean S. had a $5 donation with no comment. I don't know if his comment got held for review or what, but thanks for the donation, Sean. And then, okay. I believe that we're in a situation right now where Stotts doesn't necessarily want a strong-minded assistant. And I think that's exactly what he does need, is someone who can, get in his face and tell him, dude, you're not doing this right, or I don't agree with that. This is how I think we should do it. And if he's like, no, then you have a conflict or whatever. But I think bringing Vanderpool back would be one of the few people I'm talking about as an assistant. I don't know if he would come back for any amount of money, but someone like that who you give control to and say Dame has the respect for. I've mentioned Earl Watson several times as someone Dame played with and respects. Just someone that Dame likes or something just as an assistant that's going to be in charge of the defense or in charge of getting the offense to move the ball better and stuff like that, and make Stotts more of a CEO type head of the team. But the problem is you might get Stotts to quit that way. But like, if that was a situation, then I think you could say, hey, Dame, we try to improve these things, try to get some fresh eyes in here, and Stotts didn't want a part of that. That's not our fault. We were just trying to get more people to look at this to try and help in the best way possible, and he didn't like the fact that these other people were bringing in fresh ideas. But if it's someone like Vanderpool with those ideas, someone that Dame really respects, like I think then that would hit home to Dame that maybe Stotts isn't willing to change and not willing to listen to new ideas to fix something that's obviously broken, like the defense.
Yeah. I mean, it's like crazy how that thought and the way, you know, you think about it is such an issue for people. It's crazy that opinion people get legitimately pissed off by.
I'm a flat earther. I think that I'm like dumb.
And you're psychotic and you're a Neanderthal. Like, it's crazy to me. I don't get pissed off if somebody likes Stotts. The only thing that pisses me off is when people, you know, some of the ways people go about conversations sometimes about it, you know. It's... I don't really know how to explain, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, just go and look at chat from a month ago. That type of stuff gets on my nerves, but it's not like a personal thing. It's just like more of like I'm a little annoyed by the debate, but I'll still have a debate. But with other people, it's like such a personal thing, and it just immediately becomes a personal attack. It's crazy to me. Absolutely insane. So, yeah. I mean, but I will never shy away from drama if it's brought to me. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, right? I mean, that's what works on YouTube. So, yeah. I mean, there are rumors that the Blazers are headed to Root Sports next year. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know, because they might change some of the coverage. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. They might keep things exactly the same. But like NBC Sports Northwest or NBC Sports Network is like downsizing and stuff, so I think that is a legitimate rumor. The guy is pretty credible from what I've heard. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like next year. Root Sports, yes. Hopefully they get Root Sports on YouTube TV. that's what I care about. I don't care what channel it's on, just as long as I can have it on YouTube TV, since that's what I use for TV. I don't want to have to get cable. That would be a mistake if they made people have to get cable to watch Blazer games.
Real quick, I don't know if Brandon left already.
He might have.
He said he was leaving. Oh, it says his name's still in here. But if you are interested at all in Top Shot, he had an article today. Check out his Twitter. I think it's at Brandon Goldner or something. And then there was something else I was going to say, but I forget. Never mind.
I haven't had a chance to read that yet. I look forward to it because I've wanted to kind of learn about Top Shot. Everybody's talking about it. I haven't looked into it at all yet. So, I'm gonna read that article. He wrote an article for Blazers Edge. Had him write an article, which I think is dope. An article on Top Shot. I will actually post the link. I will actually tweet the link out. Right.
And then also he unblocked everyone today that he had blocked and is starting anew. So
that's ballsy.
If you've been blocked by Brandon in the past and you want to try to mend that bridge, he opened a olive branch for that today. If you want to get blocked again and put back on that list, then I guess you could go talk crap to him right now and he'll see it, and then you can get blocked again.
Yeah, whichever you want. I don't know. I suggest be cool to Brandon. Brandon's a cool guy, but obviously I can't control what you do on Twitter, so more power to you. I don't know. But I will tweet out that article link if you guys are interested in Top Shot. I've been thinking about getting into it. So it's Goldner's like the expert on that. Seems like so. I'm not muting my
I
mic to
was
type. I don't
I
even
was
care.
I was trying to get into Pokemon cards, but it's like impossible to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tasha's confusing to me. I like don't even really understand how it works. So it's like digital highlights that you could sell for cash. Like I don't know.
It's basically like a baseball card or like but only in video form and then
Yeah.
like but it's like exclusive to you, but uh like so it's worth money because you have it, but you could still go watch the highlight anywhere. So yeah, it is a little confusing, but yeah, as long as people have perceived value in it, it's anything can be valuable. So
Yeah. Facts, man. I mean, obviously it's a good idea because it's working and it's obviously making them money. So anything that makes money is a good idea unless it's illegal. So we don't condone illegal activities to make your living, but anything else, get that bad.
hmm
Crazy that we got Ben Hewitt in here, man. It's been a minute.
Benny, Benny.
So you will be gone for the next post game stream and the next Blazers Uprise live. You'll be gone for the
Yep,
stream on Sunday and Monday.
yep.
Yeah, so gotta figure out if I'm doing solo streams or if I'm gonna bring somebody on. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll probably be around in chat or something.
Yeah, yeah. Eric will still make his picks. I'm not gonna have somebody come on here and tank your
And,
picks.
and I have arranged for a family free day on Thursday, so I am stoked for that.
Good.
The trade deadline.
Oh yeah, the trade deadline. Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, I mean, cool, but oh yeah, the trade deadline. Shoot, I gotta
Oh,
prep that, man.
oh, by the way, you were asking about are we streaming 3 times that day? I think we play at like 4:30. We have like an early game because that
We'll do
starts
picks
our
against the spread on the trade deadline stream or
yeah.
something, and then yeah, dang, that day is gonna be busy.
Reese,
Hope you
I
guys
can
are
make
ready.
my own picks still. Thank you very much.
Reese says will take your picks. Yeah, let's go around the NBA really quick, score wise. Let me do this as fast as possible. We beat the Mavericks. Dame and CJ dropped 30 apiece. Doncic had 38, 9, and 9. The Kings beat the Celtics. Rashawn Holmes had 25 points, 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown had 19 points, 11 rebounds. The Kings moved to 17 and 24. Celtics are below 500 now at 20 and 21. The Spurs beat the Cavs 116-110. They were led by Keldon Johnson, who for a small forward, like a shooting guard, small forward type of player, gets a lot of rebounds. Keldon Johnson had 23 points, 21 rebounds, and 2 assists today for the Spurs. He's been quietly terrific so far this year for them. They moved to 22 and 16. The Cavs were led by Darius Garland, who had 29 points, 8 assists. They fall to 15 and 26. The Pacers were led by TJ McConnell in a win over the Heat. TJ McConnell had a triple-double, I think, about a week ago. Today, he had 16 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds, so he's been having some great games. He led the Pacers to 137 to 110 win over the Heat. The Heat were led by Bam Adebayo, who had 20 points. I'm checking to see if Jimmy Butler played. Jimmy Butler did play, so no injury excuse in this one for the Heat. He had a quiet 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. So
Did Bam play?
Bam played. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler played. I guess they just couldn't play defense, man. Brogdon went off for 27. TJ McConnell, like I said, had 16 and 15 off the bench. There's the ESPN autoplay. I mean, they just got, Doug McDermott's been having some decent performances lately. They got guys that can step up on that team. I would not sleep on that team in the playoffs. I've always kind of felt like Indiana has been underrated, and now they're getting healthier once they get TJ Warren back. Watch out. They're sitting at 18 and 22 right now, but it's not a team to play around with. The Heat fall to 22 and 20 after that loss.
And people forget they didn't have Sabonis in the bubble last year either.
Yeah. So
And I
that
think
definitely
Warren got hurt at some point after his hot start. I don't know if he was 100% for the playoffs or missed games. But yeah, they had some injury issues. And Oladipo wasn't 100% either. But.
Yep. The Jazz beat the Raptors 115-112. Donovan Mitchell had 31.6 assists, 5 rebounds. Siakam in the loss had 27 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds for the Raptors. The Raptors have been playing terrible basketball lately. They fall to 17-24. The Jazz moved to 30-11, but they've seemed a lot more middle of the pack as of late. They barely beat a Raptors team that was struggling, only win by 3. They don't have that great of a record in their past 10 to 12 games or so. So it would have been nice if the Raptors could have gotten the job done. It would be cool to be 4 games back up first of the West, but the Jazz are able to pull this one out. I like them, I like them looking more human than they did to start the season, though. You had,
Oh, by the way, Siakam with his, I believe, 4th buzzer beater shot that rimmed in and out.
Really?
Year.
Man, that dude is not clutch. He's the anti-Dame.
They're like so close. He's like literally a millimeter away from being like super clutch.
Yeah. This man needs to get the monkey off his back and hit one. The Pistons beat the Rockets. The Rockets lose their 19th straight game. They lose by a score of 113-100 against the Pistons. In this episode of Random Player You Didn't Know Is Still in the League Who Plays for the Pistons, Frank Jackson led them with 23 points.
I saw that.
That's what I said whoa to. I thought he was out of the league. I didn't even know he was on their team. They had 20 from Sadiq Bey, 18 from Jeremy Grant. Mason Plumlee had 16 boards. Yeah. I didn't even realize he was still in the league, but he ended up starting. So good for him. Good for him that he's still in the league. The Rockets just don't have a bench. DJ Augustine, I think that was his Rockets debut. Same with TJ Wilson. Didn't really have an impact. Kevin Porter Jr. only played 10 minutes, only had 2 points, so he's had some big games lately. He didn't really come through for them. The Rockets haven't won a game since early February. My goodness, they suck. The Warriors beat the Grizzlies 116-103. Andrew Wiggins had 40 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Valanciunas had 10 points, 16 boards, 4 assists. The Warriors moved to 22-20 with the win over the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies fall to 18-20.
People are saying Kevin Porter got hurt.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't play much.
Still, only 2 points in 10 minutes. A little bit below what he's been doing. Hopefully the injury isn't all that serious. The Nuggets beat the Bulls 131-127 in overtime. The Bulls almost pulled out a real nice win for us, but they fall just short. Jokic was an assist shy of a triple-double. He had 34 points and 15 rebounds to go along with his 9 assists. Zach LaVine had 32 points, 4 assists. In the final game, the Suns avenged their recent loss to the Timberwolves. They end up beating the Timberwolves this time. They beat them 113-101. Mikal Bridges is listed as their top performer. He had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Ricky Rubio going against his former team, playing for his former team. He had 21 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. That is the action from the NBA. As far as the standings look, us and Denver are now only a half game behind the Clippers for 4th. Us and Denver are tied at 5th. Denver has a tiebreaker due to head-to-head. We both sit at 25-16. The Clippers are 26-16. So could be looking at a top 4 seed here shortly. Still 2.5 games behind the Suns for 3rd. We're only 3 games behind the Lakers for 2nd, 5 behind the Jazz for the lead in the conference. So still got a chance to make up some ground. And we can hopefully make a dent in some of those leads that those teams have over us with a win against the Mavericks on Sunday. That's our next game.
Reese said you failed to mention Aaron Gordon. Did you see what he did tonight?
Oh, was there a Magic game? Did I skip over it?
I think he missed a game, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I did. The Magic beat the Nets 121-113. Aaron Gordon had 38 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. That's around the NBA.
Look what he did from 3. 7 and 8.
Aaron Gordon was 7 for 8 from 3. So that wraps up the action. Big win for the Magic. They moved to 14-27. I thought Mr. Gordon fixed all your issues, but the Magic, they're sitting at 14-27, so maybe that's not the case. Hope they can get healthy next year, though. They've had some very tough injury luck. I was told Aaron Gordon fixes injuries, but turns out it's not the case. Aminu played Had 5 points in 23 minutes, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Point Aminu for them. Look at that, 3 assists for Aminu. Good to see him healthy. He's definitely not a good contract at this point for them, though.
Yeah, and as far as people are asking about Kevin Durant in the comments, so they're just playing it safe with him. They've been winning a lot of games. They do not need him to rush back, so they're just waiting until he's fully healthy. But I expect him to be back in the next week or so.
We don't need him to rush back. We play the Nets on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
That will be an interesting game to see what we do schematically, defensively, and how we perform on that end of the court. That'll be a litmus test for us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first we got to take care of business against the Mavericks on Sunday. Eric won't be there for that. We'll see if somebody guesses. I might just do a solo stream. We'll see. And then Monday, Blazers Uprise Live. Eric will also be gone for that. So Eric is taking a little vacay. He told me he needed a break from the community.
That is not true.
That is definitely not true. But yeah, so we'll see what those streams look like. Might do solo streams. I am up to the challenge. Yeah, so stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter at Tory Jones it's not Tory Jones. Tory Jones YT. At Tory Jones YT for me. At Hoopstalk for Eric. At Blazers Uprise YT for the channel. Make sure to leave us a follow. I will be tweeting during March Madness tomorrow like I did today, because I'll be watching all that action, and it was fun to participate on Twitter today watching March Madness. It was a fun time, like everybody actively watching basketball that wasn't the Blazers. I enjoyed it. So make sure you go on there. And
should I change my handle to at Intramural Community College YouTuber?
Intramural Community College like, bro, just if you're gonna try and diss us, like, get your facts straight. Say, a former community college basketball player that averaged such and such points per game that thinks he knows more than an NBA coach. Like, the thinks he knows more than an NBA coach thing isn't accurate, but at least you'd be closer to the truth, Intramurals, come on, man. The one time I played intramurals in college, I broke my nose, so I ain't with that, man. I just showed up to a random intramural, broke my nose. Wasn't good. So
I played intramurals in college, but it was at Oregon State, not a community college, so he's wrong again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Intramurals at a D1 college or legitimate basketball at a community college.
Come on.
D1 intramurals, man. I broke my nose playing normal college basketball, too. Just playing college basketball ended up with me breaking my nose, man. That's the only thing I've ever broken. But, yeah, it's still slightly crooked. I don't think anybody notices, though. Hopefully not. Definitely been dumped for it before, Girls, when they look at you closely, they notice all your flaws, man. And it can get rough. But, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. This is just me screwing around on the outro. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's stream. Hope you guys have a good weekend ahead, because we will catch you again on Sunday. And with that, that's a wrap for the stream. Anything you want to end off with, Eric?
Yeah, well, one more thing for our conversation earlier.
It's
just like, the other thing is, we're not sitting here saying we can do a better job than Stotts. We're not saying we're smarter than Stotts. We're not saying we're smarter than anyone else that's, like, contributing to stuff. Like, I don't know, like, we don't mention them unless they mention something really stupid or attack us. So, like, anyone who says, like, oh, these guys think they know it all or whatever, like, not once have I said I know everything. In fact, I've said several times that I would not make a good coach and that I do not want to be a head coach. And so I just want to put that out there that, like, we're not sitting here saying we're smarter or better than anyone else. So, like, there's plenty of people here in chat that are just as good basketball minds as we are.
We're smarter and better than everyone else.
Okay, Tori might be, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any flaws, says Morrison.
That's bread.
I know. Way to just out him, bro. Way to just out him like that.
Oh, everyone knows he's bread.
Bread doesn't have any flaws, and I have less flaws than him. So, anyway, damn, the stream's still going. I mean, normally we stream 2 hours. We're at 2 hours, 2 minutes. So this is about the time we normally sign off, and that's what we're going to do.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
thank you guys for supporting us. It means a lot. Thank you guys for rolling with us. It's definitely nice when you are up against the flames, so to say, being held at the stake over the fire, man, just being roasted. It gets rough. So appreciate the support, man. It means a lot. So anyway, hope you guys have a good rest of your night. We will catch you. I will catch you, not Eric. I will catch you on Sunday.
I'll still catch you.
Eric will catch you in the chat. I will catch you in person. So anyway, until then, have a good rest of your night. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.